The text from my sister Jennifer came at 6:47 a.m. Christmas morning. Maya, what time should we arrive? Mom wants to know if you need help with anything. I stared at my phone from my first-class seat on Flight 842 to Honolulu, watching the California coastline disappear below. Help with anything, that was rich. In 15 years they'd never once offered actual help. It started when I was 22, fresh out of college and living in my first apartment. Mom had called 3 weeks before Christmas 2008, her voice strained with that familiar guilt trip tone I'd learned to recognize. Maya, honey, I just don't have the energy to do Christmas dinner this year. Your father's back surgery, and Jennifer's so busy with her new job. Could you maybe host something small? Just immediate family. Small, turned into 17 people. Just immediate family, included cousins I barely knew and their children. That first Christmas I spent my entire savings on groceries, cooked for 3 days straight, and cleaned my apartment until my hands were raw. Jennifer arrived 2 hours late with store-bought cookies, took selfies with the centerpieces I'd made, and posted them with captions about our family traditions. But the real kicker came during dinner. Uncle Robert raised his glass and toasted Jennifer's amazing hosting skills. When I gently corrected him, Mom shushed me. Don't be petty, Maya. It's Christmas. I should have stopped there. Should have recognized the pattern forming. Instead, I smiled, cleaned up alone while everyone watched football, and somehow found myself agreeing to host New Year's too. 15 years. That's how long it took me to realize I'd become the family's unpaid event coordinator, caterer, decorator, and cleanup crew all rolled into one. Every holiday, every birthday, every anniversary, every graduation party, if it involved more than 3 people, it was automatically assigned to me. Not asked. The system was insidious in its efficiency. Mom would call first, usually around 3 weeks before any event. The conversation always followed the same script. Maya, we need to talk about, insert holiday/celebration here. What about it, Mom? Well, your sister's house is too small and your brother's place is under construction, and Dad and I just don't have the energy anymore. The implication hung there, unspoken but crystal clear. I was the only option. The family savior. The one who didn't have anything better to do anyway. The worst part wasn't even the money, though I calculated once that I'd spent over $40,000 of my own salary on family events over the years. It wasn't the time, though I'd used every vacation day from my marketing job to shop, prepare, cook, and host. It wasn't even the physical exhaustion, though I'd developed chronic back pain from lifting tables and carrying platters. The worst part was how they'd rewritten history to erase me from it. Jennifer's Instagram was a masterpiece of revisionist documentation. Every family gathering appeared on her feed as Our Beautiful Family Traditions, with carefully cropped photos that made it look like she'd orchestrated everything. She'd post pictures of the dining room table I'd spent hours setting, the flower arrangements I'd made by hand, the elaborate dessert spreads I'd baked from scratch. The captions always referenced we and our family, and so grateful for these moments we create together. The comments poured in, you're so talented. What a perfect hostess. Your family is so lucky to have you. Jennifer would heart every single one. Meanwhile, I was in the kitchen washing dishes and wrapping leftovers, invisible as always. My brother Marcus wasn't much better. He'd arrive exactly when dinner was served, eat until he couldn't move, and then disappear to watch sports while I cleaned. His wife Sarah would make a show of offering to help, but somehow always got distracted by one of their kids needing attention. Maya's got this, she'd say with a laugh. She's so organized. Organized. That became my label. Maya's so organized, so capable, so good at this stuff. Never mind that I taught myself event planning through YouTube videos and Pinterest boards. Never mind that I stayed up until 2 a.m. for weeks before every event, stressed to the point of insomnia. Never mind that I'd never had anyone plan so much as a birthday dinner for me. The breaking point should have been Mom's 65th birthday party last spring. She'd requested something simple for maybe 20 people. It turned into a themed celebration for 47 guests, with a custom cake, professional decorations, and a slideshow presentation I'd spent 2 weeks creating. I rented tables, hired a photographer, even arranged for a surprise appearance by her college roommate I'd tracked down through Facebook. The party was perfect. Mom cried happy tears. The photos were magazine-worthy. The entire family told me it was the best party ever. 3 days later, Mom called with criticism. The flowers were a little overdone. The music was too loud. The photographer I'd hired was kind of pushy. She ended the call with, "Next time maybe we should just keep it simple." Next time. There was always going to be a next time. That's when I started seeing Dr. Martinez. I'd been putting off therapy for years, telling myself I was fine, just stressed, just busy. But something about Mom's critique of the party I'd nearly killed myself planning broke something inside me. I called the employee assistance program at work and scheduled an appointment. Dr. Martinez was a soft-spoken woman in her 50s who specialized in family dynamics. During our first session, I spent 30 minutes explaining that I wasn't sure why I was there, that my family relationships were mostly good, that I just felt overwhelmed sometimes. She listened without judgment, taking notes in a leather-bound notebook. When I finished my rambling explanation, she asked one simple question. "When was the last time someone in your family did something special for you?" I opened my mouth to answer and realized I couldn't. Not couldn't remember, couldn't think of a single example. My last birthday had been acknowledged with text messages. My promotion at work had earned a "that's nice" from Mom and radio silence from my siblings. When I'd had the flu last winter and missed Christmas shopping, Jennifer had called to ask if I could at least order gifts online for the kids since she didn't know what they wanted. "I see," Dr. Martinez said gently. "Let's talk about that." Over the next 6 months, our sessions became a slow, painful excavation of 15 years of family dynamics I'd convinced myself were normal. Dr. Martinez helped me identify the patterns. The way my family weaponized guilt, how they'd cast me in the role of family servant and then gaslit me into believing it was natural, how they exploited my people-pleasing tendencies while giving nothing in return. The term she used was parentification. How I'd been assigned the emotional and logistical responsibilities of caring for the entire extended family, without any of the authority or appreciation that should come with that role. "It's not uncommon," she explained during one session. "Families often designate one person as the responsible one, and then systematically exploit that person's willingness to sacrifice for the group. The problem is, it becomes so normalized that both the family and the designated person lose sight of how unhealthy the dynamic really is." "But they need me," I protested. "If I don't plan these things, who will?" Dr. Martinez leaned forward slightly. "Maya, has anyone ever asked you what you need?" The question hit like a physical blow. I sat in her office, surrounded by soft lighting and tissues and the faint smell of lavender, and realized that no one in my family had ever once asked me what I needed, what I wanted, what would make me happy. I started planning my escape in September. It wasn't dramatic or emotional. It was methodical, like everything else I'd learned to do well. I opened a savings account at a different bank. I researched flights to Hawaii and found a perfect Christmas week package at a resort in Maui. I submitted my vacation request at work for December 20th through January 3rd. The hardest part was maintaining normal behavior during the October and November family events. I planned Marcus's wife's baby shower in October, pink and gold theme, 30 guests, custom favors she posted all over social media. I organized the family's Thanksgiving gathering in November, 21 people, traditional menu plus accommodations for 3 different dietary restrictions, handmade centerpieces featuring miniature pumpkins I'd carved myself. Both events went perfectly. Both times I smiled and accepted compliments and began mentally packing my suitcase for Hawaii. The December family meeting happened right on schedule. Mom called on December 3rd. "Maya, honey, we need to talk about Christmas." I let her go through the whole familiar script. Jennifer's house was too small. Marcus's place was still dealing with that kitchen renovation. Dad's arthritis was acting up. They were all just so tired from the busy year. "So we were thinking," Mom continued, "maybe you could host Christmas Eve and Christmas Day this year? Jennifer wants to do something special with the kids Christmas morning, so maybe brunch? And then the whole family could come for dinner." 2 days. She wanted me to host Christmas for 2 consecutive days. "Of course, Mom," I said. "I'll take care of everything." I could hear the relief in her voice. "Oh, Maya, you're a lifesaver. What would we do without you?" I was about to find out. The group text went out on December 15th. Christmas schedule. Christmas Eve brunch at Maya's 11 a.m. Christmas Day dinner at Maya's 4 p.m. Can't wait to see everyone. XOXO. I got back 17 responses, all variations of "sounds great," and "thanks Maya," and "see you there." No one asked what I needed them to bring. No one offered to help with shopping or cooking or setup. No one even asked if the timing worked for me. That night I bought my plane ticket. The morning of December 23rd, I drove to 3 different grocery stores and filled 2 shopping carts with food I'd never eat. I wanted their disappointment to be complete and obvious. Organic turkey from Whole Foods. Imported cheese. Expensive wine. Premium ingredients for dishes I'd perfected over 15 years of practice. I left everything in my refrigerator and pantry. My flight to Maui departed at 5:30 a.m. on December 24th. I'd set my alarm for 3 a.m. but I'd barely slept anyway. Instead, I'd lain in bed, alternating between excitement and terror. Part of me kept reaching for my phone to cancel the whole thing, to text my family with some emergency excuse, to fall back into the familiar pattern of sacrifice and resentment. But Dr. Martinez's voice kept echoing in my head from our last session. Maya, you've spent 15 years managing their feelings and expectations. What would happen if just once they had to manage yours? I turned off my phone at 4 a.m. and kept it off until I landed in Hawaii. The Maui resort was everything I'd dreamed of and nothing I'd experienced during 15 years of family holidays. My ocean view room had a private balcony where I ate breakfast alone, watching sea turtles surface in the turquoise water. I spent Christmas Eve getting a massage and reading a novel by the pool. No shopping lists, no cooking schedules, no family politics to navigate. Christmas Day itself was surreal in its simplicity. I ordered room service, fresh fruit, macadamia nut pancakes, Hawaiian coffee, and ate breakfast in bed while watching the sunrise. I went snorkeling. I took a nap. I had dinner at the resort restaurant, where the waiter asked about my holiday plans and I said simply, "This is it." "Traveling solo for Christmas?" he asked. "That's brave." Brave. No one in my family had ever called me brave for anything. I turned my phone back on that evening Hawaii time. It was already December 26th back home. I had 47 missed calls, 63 text messages and 12 voicemails. I made myself a tropical drink from the minibar and settled in to read through the chaos I'd created. The early messages, time-stamped around 11 a.m. Pacific on Christmas Eve, started with confusion. "Mom, Paya, where are you? We're at your apartment." "Jennifer, your landlord let us in the building but you're not answering your door." "Marcus, did you go to get last-minute stuff? We're all here." The tone shifted around noon. "Dad, Paya, this isn't funny. People are hungry." "Jennifer, there's no food here. What's going on?" "Uncle Robert, kids are crying. Need to find a restaurant open." By evening, confusion had turned to panic. "Mom, Paya, Elizabeth, you call me right now. The whole family is here and there's nothing prepared." "Nothing." "Jennifer, I can't believe you would do this to us. To the kids." "Marcus, Mom is having a panic attack. Where the hell are you?" "Jennifer again, Grandma drove 3 hours for this. She's 89 years old." The Christmas Day messages were even more desperate. "Mom, Maya, I don't know what's wrong but we can fix this. Just call me." "Jennifer, the entire family is talking about this. You've embarrassed all of us." "Marcus, Sarah's parents were supposed to come to dinner. What am I supposed to tell them?" And finally, around 8 p.m. Pacific on Christmas Day. "Mom, your behavior is selfish and cruel. I don't know who you've become but this isn't the Maya I raised. You've ruined Christmas for everyone." I read every message twice, waiting for the guilt to hit. Waiting for the crushing anxiety that had driven me to therapy in the first place. Instead, I felt something I hadn't experienced in 15 years. Peace. They'd figured it out. Without me, they'd scrambled and managed and found restaurants and made alternative plans. The children had still gotten their Christmas. The family had still gathered. The world had not ended because I wasn't there to orchestrate their happiness. I spent the next 3 days in Hawaii doing exactly what I wanted. I took a helicopter tour of the island. I learned to surf. I read 3 entire books without interruption. I bought myself souvenirs, the first vacation gifts I'd purchased for myself in years. On December 27th, I called Dr. Martinez's emergency line. She called me back within an hour. "How are you feeling?" she asked. "Free," I said. "Terrified but free." She was quiet for a moment. "That sounds exactly right." I flew back to Los Angeles on December 29th, tanned and rested and dreading the confrontation I knew was waiting. But when I walked into my apartment, I found something unexpected. 3 voicemails from family members who hadn't spoken to me in years. My cousin David, who'd been at every Christmas I'd hosted but never once helped. Maya, I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I never realized how much work you did for all of us. Mom told me what happened and honestly I don't blame you. My Aunt Susan, Mom's sister. Honey, I heard about Christmas. Your mom is upset, but between you and me she had it coming. She's been taking advantage of you for years. Good for you for finally standing up for yourself. My grandmother, Dad's mother. Maya, dear, I want you to know that Christmas was lovely even though it was different. Your cousin Jennifer managed just fine. She should have been helping you all along. I hope you had a wonderful vacation. The family fallout was swift and predictable. Jennifer started a group chat without me to discuss Maya's behavior. Marcus called me selfish and dramatic. Mom alternated between guilt trips and silent treatment. But something had shifted in the family dynamic. Without me to automatically assign responsibilities to, they had to actually negotiate among themselves. Jennifer discovered that event planning was harder than it looked. Marcus learned that someone had to coordinate schedules and manage RSVPs. Mom realized that hosting duties couldn't just be dumped on whoever seemed most willing. More importantly, I learned that I could survive their disapproval. My siblings eventually started speaking to me again, mostly because they needed my help with something. But the dynamic had changed. When Jennifer called about planning Mom's birthday party, I said, I'm not available that weekend, but I'm happy to contribute $50 toward hiring a caterer. $50? She sputtered. Maya, you know I can't plan a whole party by myself. Actually, I know you can, I said. You managed Christmas just fine. When Marcus asked if I could host Easter, I suggested we rotate hosting duties among all the adult children. I'll take Easter next year, I offered. This year I'm visiting a friend in Portland. The friend in Portland was Dr. Martinez's suggestion. A college roommate I'd lost touch with years ago because I'd been too busy managing my family's social calendar. Reconnecting with her led to other reconnections, other friendships I'd neglected in service of family obligations. By the following Christmas, the family had adapted. Jennifer hosted Christmas Eve at her house with everyone bringing assigned dishes. Marcus took Christmas Day with catered food split among the siblings. I brought dessert and went home after dinner to watch movies with friends. It wasn't the picture-perfect family Christmas I'd spent 15 years orchestrating. But it was sustainable, equitable, and for the first time in years actually enjoyable. The real revelation came during New Year's Eve. I was at a party with my friend Rebecca, the one I'd reconnected with in Portland. At midnight, surrounded by people who knew me as something other than the family workhorse, I realized I couldn't remember the last time I'd celebrated New Year's Eve anywhere except in my kitchen, cleaning up after a family party I'd planned and hosted and orchestrated from start to finish. What are you thinking about? Rebecca asked, noticing my contemplative mood. I spent 15 years trying to make my family happy, I told her. And I never once asked if it was making me happy. She clinked her champagne glass against mine. Well, better late than never. Looking back now, I understand that my Christmas morning flight to Hawaii wasn't really about revenge or dramatic gestures. It was about boundary setting, teaching my family that I was a person with my own needs and desires, not just a resource they could exploit indefinitely. Dr. Martinez calls it differentiation. The process of becoming an individual within your family system instead of just playing the role they've assigned you. It's uncomfortable and guilt-inducing and sometimes lonely. But it's also the only way to build relationships based on mutual respect instead of exploitation. My family still calls me when they need something, but now they ask instead of assuming. They offer to help instead of expecting me to handle everything alone. They acknowledge my contributions instead of taking them for granted. And when they don't, when someone slips back into the old patterns of expectation and entitlement, I have a tropical drink by a pool in Maui to remind me that I have choices, that I can say no, that their discomfort with my boundaries is not my emergency to solve. The best part is that they've all become more capable. Jennifer has discovered she's actually quite creative when she has to be. Marcus has learned to coordinate family schedules. Mom has started asking what would work best for everyone instead of just assigning tasks to whoever seems most available. They didn't need me to handle everything for them. They needed me to stop handling everything for them so they could learn to handle things themselves. Sometimes I think about that morning in the airplane, watching California disappear below me while my family gathered around an empty table. I'd spent so many years afraid of disappointing them, afraid of letting them down, afraid of what would happen if I wasn't there to manage their expectations. It turns out what happened was simple. They figured it out. They adapted. They grew up. And so did I.